Yeah.
But I mean, my group is I come to y'all individually, and I
Now,
take heed to what I can.
so I'm back. Um, so here's the thing, and I had a phone call from the broker. They took me off that load. Um, See, that's why I'm so tired. That's why I put out the information I put out, Queen, is they've all this false information.
Well, it's hypocritical of what they, you know, are based on, but yet on what they're telling, it's like, what are you doing? You're contradicting your own words. I don't know. I was so fucking aggravated last night.
It sounds very contradictory because it's
Yeah.
like somebody's inserting their own personal viewpoints into everybody's inherent rights. So it's like, well, if you tried something in the past, we don't want you. If you tried to stand up for your rights in the past, we don't want you. That's what it sounds like to me.
Well, you know, I'm a little bit in tune with what everyone says, and first off, I'm just going to say this. You can't change history, okay? You can't change what's already written and published and never refuted, right? So the history, if you dig, you will come to the truth. The truth is, like I said before, the term national did not exist in any law, in any sense of the term law, whether it's legal or lawful, what have you, until 1946. Now, when you look up the definition of national, it's one who holds an allegiance to a state. Well, that's like a governor, secretary of state, state
Well,
treasurer.
actually, go to
Yeah.
the governmental styles manual. The term nationality does exist, and on page, I just put up a video on this the other day.
Yeah.
Huh?
Does it say all nationals are created
I'm waiting
equal
for
and all
them to call
nationals
me.
are equal under the law? It doesn't
No,
say that.
no,
So
it
what does
does
that
not
mean?
say that. It does
So,
Right.
it does not say that.
It says
So,
I mean, if you go,
each man,
if you,
meaning woman also, are
yep,
created equally under God and are equal under the law.
that's the
That's my
definition.
interpretation of it.
if you look up in the governmental styles manual, it plainly tells you what your nationality is. Your nationality is the state you were born in, because what are the states? They're sovereign nations. They're countries. You're not an American. You're a North Carolinian, a Texan, a Virginian, etc., etc. And this is the thing. People have so many misconceptions about the federal government that it's why I get blocked so many times. People like that would block me too, Queen.
Yeah.
I mean, I just put a video up the other day showing right from the governmental styles manual where it says what your nationality is.
Well, yeah. You know, I mean, that's a given because we're all free inhabitants of the state in which we reside or born in. So I get that. I get that. But it's not a matter of your nationality. It's a matter of, are you a national? Because in the constitutions, in the Articles of Confederation, in the Bill of Rights, there's no mention of the word national at all.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't
I know.
nationality still? I'm sorry.
I know there's not.
Yeah.
Go
So
look at
all
what I
this,
said in the group
yeah,
about a while back. It's called oh, what is it called? Something of hospitality. And now I can't think of it.
I remember that.
Grant of hospitality.
Yeah.
Okay? Your nationality is a birthright. Okay?
yeah,
That birthright is because you was born in a respective territory. You're not a citizen of the state because really, honestly, you don't have any firsthand knowledge of being born in that state.
Right.
But you can
But
claim your nationality of being of that state.
yes, and also people are not aware that there's two definitions for citizen. There's lowercase citizen and there's higher
Correct.
capital C citizen.
There's
There's two
actually
different
three.
meanings.
There's
Okay.
actually three. All cap citizen also.
Yes,
And
you're
that's
right. You're correct.
the Bible talks about the Trinity. There is 3 United States, there are 3 states, there are 3 citizens, and depending on your grammar and how you write it will depend on the meaning of what it is.
Yeah, you're right. But people are not aware of all this. And you know, I don't want to hear someone's interpretation. I want to read it and I want to see it for myself. And you know, use my own discernment. But if it's clearly written and spelled out and given, what the hell are all these people misconstruing this stuff for? It aggravates the shit out of me.
When you told me the name of the organization, I knew right then they had taken some information from David Strait or Anna von Reitz. They had modified it and they took it from that point. They are not trying to hear anything else other than that.
Well, hang on a minute. Let me correct you. Anna von Reitz joined National Assembly. So National Assembly was around first.
Okay.
Anna von Reitz joined them, took all their information, and then started pushing her documentation. And they said, oh, no, we're not participating. We want nothing to do with it because it's all based on fraud. Now, David Strait learned and studied under Anna von Reitz. I don't know if you are aware of that. So he took her. Ow, I'm sorry. I can't hear. David Strait took her information and documentation and he created it to make it even broader. So Anna von Reitz is all about the land, the soil, and you know, getting your rights back to the true American form. But David Strait took it further with the land, the air, and the water. So now he encompasses everything as far as his documents are concerned, telling you that you are you have dominion over all. But the basis is God did grant the land to us. So the land is our dominion. But they're the ones that stole National Assembly stuff and created their own stuff. So
yeah, well, yeah, but see, dominion, you got to realize, go back and look at the word dominion. Okay, it does not mean ownership. It means rulership. There's a difference. Okay, and that's the thing people don't understand. They think they understand how the system works when they don't. And they listening to all these freaking gurus out there putting out crap information instead of reading the very documents and learning them for what they are.
That's exactly what I'm saying. So with them coming out last night and saying to use the APA to get remedy, I was like livid. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? It was very contradictory for me. And obviously they didn't want to hear what I had to say after that.
No, they don't.
The only thing I take away from the APA is you got to learn your enemy. That's the rules they're using. And I guarantee more than likely they're not even following their own rules. So if you can pick apart where they didn't follow their own rules and they're overstepping, then you can potentially beat them within their own system.
There's if you look up the Bible Law Course, it was put out by the Sheldon Library. And this is part of the reason why I say the Moors are not exactly, this is one of many reasons why I say the Moors aren't accurate in their information, is this It's on Fam Guardian, and I'm working on putting it up on my site. It goes through the Bible, evidentiary, and through the government's documents, showing you how this country was developed. And this is the thing: without the Bible, you cannot get the country we have. You can't. Look at
Right.
any other nation in this world. Every single one of them have a constitution, but their constitution is based on their belief system. You do not get the republic like we had without the Bible. And we still got it. The problem is the people don't understand it. It's like I've proven with the trouble with the name. You are thinking that's your name, and it's simple legal principles. First-hand knowledge. Where is your first-hand knowledge? You don't have any. So how can you claim something? He who makes the claim has the burden of proof. How can you claim something that you have no first-hand knowledge for?
Hmm. Well, here, I'm going to tell you something even better that one gentleman said, and I couldn't even get in to make a comment on that. He turned around and he said, "You're the trustee. You need
No,
to
you're
learn
not.
how to become the trustee." And I'm screaming at I'm listening, and I'm screaming at my computer going, "You're a friggin' idiot." So next week I will be very boisterous because this is just complete idiocy as far as I'm concerned. And I am just to the point where, you know what? I'll do my own friggin' assembly of the state. I don't need them. That's to the point that I'm at.
Yeah. I look at it like this. You don't have to be no assembly. Just learn the freaking principles. If
Well,
you learn the principles, you can navigate this entire system and you don't have to do a process. If you're going to do a business, then maybe you do need to do a process. Learn how to operate an LLC, learn how to operate a trust so you can protect your assets. But outside of that, if you just learned agency and principles, agency and contracts, the basic fundamental principles of who is who and how to write, as in contracts, how that works, you can do pretty much everything you need to do from that point on and never have to do a trust.
well, yeah, I get that too. But the whole idea and the whole basis of assembling is taking back your political power. You can't take back your political power if you don't know how to operate correctly.
Well, hold
And
on. What
go ahead.
political power are you talking about?
We all have the inherent political power
That
within us.
that power has never been taken away, though.
I
See,
understand that. I get
you
that.
don't you don't have the right to vote in a federal election. The
Mm-mm.
reason the people have lost their power is they've forgotten what it is.
Yes, I agree with you.
It's
I
it's still there.
Well, first off, if you go back into history, we're never supposed to have been voters anyway. So these
Yeah.
elections are just waste of time. We're always and have always had the right to be an elector. But, they every decade they drum us down further and further and further. And yes, we've all lost our way. But
Hmm.
collectively united together as an assembled body of politic, that's where the power comes from, and that's when we can exercise our rights.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why I would be behind assembling, because as a group united, you have the power. One individual, look at all these people that they're killing off. One individual is going to become a target. And I tell everybody, especially here in New Jersey, don't do anything towards the government alone. You have to do it as a group. I don't care what it is, if it's serving the sheriff or the DA or whatever. Now, the only time that I would say you can go individually is when you are being faced with charges against you. But politically, no, you can't do it alone. They'll knock you off. They've been knocking people off left and right.
Hmm. See, you really have to learn. People talk about public and private don't mix, and that is true. But people don't understand the gravity of that phrase. They are constantly mixing public and private jurisdiction. Okay, the Bible says you're to be in the world, but not of it. In other words, you got to traverse everything, but you don't need to be part of it. You don't need to be beholden to its whims and its wishes and its rules if you just learn how to do things. And that's the problem. People don't want to do that. They think it has to be some kind of hard process, and it's not.
It's
My
not.
buddy,
And
go look at the
also,
video. Go look at the
hang on.
video I posted of Mark on his with his IRS thing. He made $70,000 disappear, and all he did was write one letter to the IRS.
Yeah. And I've been telling people to do that now because I realized if you don't want to participate, you don't have to remove yourself. But
The
what I wanted to,
consent of the governed. Quit
yeah,
consenting, but do it properly.
what I wanted to bring up was, they create public laws, right? But they
Hmm.
also create private laws too. And a lot of people aren't
Exactly.
aware of that either.
Hmm. Hey, remember I had that conversation with you the other week about what's his name? Boris was talking about, right? Boris was talking about the Second Amendment, how you have the right to alter or abolish your government. And we see a real life example of this with who writes the laws.
Yeah.
Well, that's the lobbyist. And who do the lobbyists represent? The corporations and the elite. Is that a real life example? And I believe it is. That they are altering the government to fit their needs, and everybody sits around and complains about what they do instead of learning the rules to the game so they can do the very same thing.
Well, doesn't that fall back on, and I know you're not going to want to hear this, and your ears are probably going to screech when I say it, but isn't that what Kirk is teaching people? How to use the process that's
My,
available to us to go
look,
after change?
my problem with Kirk is he doesn't want to listen to the correct things. I don't
Yeah.
care that Kirk is doing some of the things. What I cared about was the fact of how he's lied to the people over and over, not just about certain information in the legal side, but how he sat there and told everybody that he was part of Trump's task force, put that letter on Facebook, the envelope, when it and lied to the people, and I called him out on it.
All
I
right.
said
Well,
that
let me
envelope
just stop you right
was,
there. I don't want you to
and
embarrass yourself. Okay.
I'm
Let me
not
just stop
embarrassing
you.
myself.
Well, when you hear what I have to say, then you might be. So you know about Chris Hallett's murder, right? I don't know if
Yeah, I know
everybody
about
on
that.
here, I don't know if everybody on here knows about Chris Hallett or what have you, but E-Clause was contracted by the government, and Kirk did do depositions because it's still an ongoing investigation as far as Chris Hallett's murder is concerned.
He
Okay.
has never proven this to me. He has said it, and I
Yes,
said, prove it. But it's not embarrassing to me. I saw the envelope where it talked about Trump's task force. My
hmm
mother in law got that same exact envelope.
I know.
And
I
guess
remember
what
the
it
thing.
was? It was
It was
it
for
was them
voting.
it was
Yeah.
for voting and donations. And I told him, I said, if you were truly of this, put it on the freaking record. Don't freaking lie to the people.
Okay, so my point is why I was interrupted you is because within his deposition, which there was some article, someone read it to me the other day. I don't know where it is. If I can get them to tell me where to find it, I'll share it with you. But
Mhm.
he did state it on the record in his deposition. And he got into it and he named a bunch of different people. And it's pretty interesting what Kirk had put on the record under sworn oath. So I'm just throwing that out there to you.
I mean, hey, if it's true, it's true. Prove it.
Mhm.
He's never shown a single piece of documentation to prove what he says. Sorry. And if he has, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I'll try to get that article with his deposition, and uh, it's written, it's clear as day. Yeah. So, but anyway, that goes back to the same shit with David Straight. He tells everybody, "Oh, he was part of Trump's task force too."
Without proof.
Yeah, but what everybody doesn't understand is there people like David Straight and Vandersteel. I mean, there's a whole group of these people. They're friggin' CIA or FBI. They are controlled opposition to keep people spinning their wheels. Why? Because the government does not want the people to remember or learn or exercise their rights. Because if they did, if they were aware exactly what you said before, then they know how to go after and change, alter, or abolish. And that's what they've been doing, is to silence and hold everyone down. And now all this crap with all these schools and the parental rights and all that stuff. I mean, there's a big problem going on here, and people better wake the fuck up. That's all I got to say.
Mm-hmm.
None
See, the
of them
thing,
have authority. None of them have the authority, and that's
the
what people need to learn.
the difference between me and most of the people out there, if I tell you I've done something or I'm supposedly at some position, I'm going to show you the documents. I'm going to show you the proof. That's why when I did that ticket last year, I had it recording, and probably no less, somewhere around 8 different people you can ask that listen to the phone recording. Okay. Most people out there, and that's back to the whole subject with David and Kirk and all them, they will tell you they are this, that, and the other. And that's what drives me crazy. Or I've done some process, but do they ever show actual evidence? No.
Well, to a degree, yes, because there's evidence of Kirk petitioning the government. There's evidence of Kirk going to Congress. There's evidence of Kirk fighting and winning, doing the due
Yeah,
process,
I'm
you know?
yeah, he's learned the rules and doing the right things, but that doesn't mean he's part of some system though. It just means he's learning the rules. That's all. I mean,
Yeah.
look,
Yeah.
I've proven the truth about the name, the whole thing of the two products of conception, and the people in the secured party community, and I've done that process. Some of them are the hardest to show this evidence to. They will tell you they're right and then turn around and block me. And it's like somebody asked me, well, why does it work for this person? Well, because even a blind hog finds a nut on occasion. It doesn't negate the evidence of what is there. It doesn't. Okay. So if it doesn't negate the evidence, you can still have done the process wrong and still get wins if you know how to defend your position. Like my buddy Wesley Keith Mullins. I've shown him all this. He knows it's right. He don't care. He has he's got his own trust, his own name trust, et cetera, and he knows how to enforce it and operate it. So you can be wrong in part if you know the rules and how to do things. The majority of the people do not know the rules.
I agree with you. So while I got you on here, I want to ask you a question, if you don't mind.
I don't mind.
What what is the um what is your opinion and your uh response to this question? Bill W., his process. Is he right or is he wrong?
I don't know enough about it because I've never really cared about it.
Okay, so have you had communications with him or anything?
Nope.
All right, because I hear different things, and I was uncertain where you were coming in as far as his process. I
I don't even know exactly what his process is.
Okay, so he's teaching people, and I admin for him too, just so you know.
Mm-hmm.
He's teaching people to create an EIN in the all caps name, and
Mm-hmm.
then doing a DBA in that all caps name, and then filing 1099s online, taking back the control of the all caps name trust.
And what that's going to end up doing is getting people probably charged with paper terrorism.
Maybe I haven't done any of the processes, so I don't need to be connected to any kind of fraud at all. That's why I haven't done
Well,
nothing.
doing those processes is not in and of themselves wrong. Okay?
Hmm.
Thinking you can take control of that trust is where I draw the line. It's not yours. Let's see.
Yeah.
Search. I shared a document in here. If you just search, let's see. No. Let's see if it comes up. Nope. Paper. Cancel. Go to files. You scroll down to search. Back on May 3rd, it's 62. It starts with Westlaw Edge 62 full text items for paper terrorism. Okay. Good reader. Now, redemptionist, paper terrorism and related concepts. And that was first time it's mentioned is on page 2. This was dealing with a Moor. Shortly after the concept of Moorish movement was outlined by the Seventh Circuit, discussion of another movement appeared on the pages of legal opinions issued by the federal judiciary. That other movements was dubbed as sovereign citizenship movement. This movement was fostered by a loosely organized collections of groups and individuals who have adopted a right-wing anarchist ideology. So when you interfere with the federal government's normal duties as laid out in law, they will charge you with paper terrorism. It says, therefore, such sovereign citizens wage war against the government and other forms of authority using paper terrorism, harassment and intimidation tactics, and occasionally resorting to physical violence. Some of them actually, it says, okay, the straw man concept is occasionally presented, exploited somewhat differently by those redemptionists. We got that term from the Redemption Manual, who claim that at the moment of their denouncement of the United States citizenship and or their accompanying self-grant of imaginary alternative citizenship, their strawman incarnation, became deceased, and their live persons quasi-expatriated from the U.S. Okay. See how they're using the arguments against what I'm saying? The
Yeah.
difference is what I'm saying is I go to their words. Majority of the people out there are not doing it. They're not saying, hey, wait a minute. It's not me. It is in your own words, your own documents. You did this. You claim ownership here. You can have it. And what are all these people doing? They're trying to claim it. Let's see. There's actually some cases in here that actually do talk about collapsing the trust. Okay. See, let's see. See, Rubery thinks that appellants are anarchists. Rubery speculated the three men might be part of an anarchist movement engaging in paper terrorism campaign to clog the courts. This is paper terrorism.
That's a Chris Hauser situation.
Yeah. So what did Chris Hauser do? He put out the 1099A process. What does the masses do? Clog up the system.
Well, no, I was referring to the liens, the UCC liens. They did
Yeah,
that too.
that
That
too. Yeah.
I heard he got 25 years for that.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, and there was 3 men, him and 2 others.
Mm-hmm. Now, see, a lot of their arguments on this paper that these different people that went to court, a lot of their arguments is based in fact, but how they're applying it is wrong. Almost every one of them say that it's me and that I am this and it is this. And what they're doing is they're saying, wait a minute, the government says no. The government's not coming out and admitting it. They're not going to come right out and tell you what they've done. You got to know. They publish everything. Most people don't go read it, though. They listen to what every Tom, Dick, and Harry says. It's like Kirk. How many times has I talked to him? And if I back him in a corner, and I've done it numerous times, he can't answer the question. He says it's all fraud. That's his go-to response. Instead of saying, hey, show me what you're talking about so he can become better at what he does. That's not what Kirk does. That's not what David Straight does. That's not
Right.
what Bobby Lawrence does. These people will block you because to challenge their authority and their knowledge does what? Shows they're wrong, and they've been mooching off the people all this time.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I like the fact
Amen.
that somebody proves me wrong.
I'll
Prove
prove 'em
me
right.
wrong.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
That's
They've
Bill.
been doing it since I know, and I hate them all.
That's
They
Bill.
Prove
don't hurt
me
the people.
wrong.
They just take.
If you prove me wrong, you're making me a better person because I don't know everything. No one does.
I
Right.
don't know shit, and I know what they're doing.
Yeah. So, hey, I'm going to have to cut this short. I got an 11 o'clock a meeting and it's 7 minutes till.
Good time.
Well, it's been real, and
And
thank you
I
for
will
your
be
info.
I will be back probably after that meeting.
Cool.
All right, thanks for the chat.